Stand up right now. Go ahead. I'll wait for you. Really do it. Now, as you're standing, notice carefully how your feet feel in this moment. Is there a subtle tingling running through your toes or the balls of your feet? Perhaps a warm or burning sensation is present, or maybe even a slight numbness that's just beginning to creep in. What if I told you that this very discomfort you're feeling right now isn't simply an unavoidable result of getting older, or solely caused by diabetes, or due to some completely irreversible form of nerve damage? In many cases, this sensation can actually be made noticeably worse, sometimes dramatically worse, by ordinary, everyday habits that most people never even stop to consider or notice they're doing. Hi there, I'm Dr. Michael Kent, and after devoting more than 20 full years of my professional life specifically to the study and treatment of nerve health and neuropathy, particularly in older adults, I can confidently tell you that a great deal of what people are commonly told about neuropathy only covers part of the real story. The fuller reality is this: your nerves are extraordinarily sensitive to a wide range of lifestyle factors and even seemingly small, minor, everyday habits that feel completely harmless can, over weeks, months, and years, gradually intensify your symptoms in ways that add up significantly. In the next roughly 25 minutes, I'm going to carefully reveal 7 surprising yet very common habits that could quite literally be aggravating your neuropathy symptoms at this very moment as we speak. And perhaps even more importantly, I'm going to share with you the precise, practical adjustments you can start making right away to help soothe those irritated nerves, improve vital circulation to the affected areas, and genuinely ease the pain and discomfort you've been dealing with. These specific approaches and recommendations I'm about to share are solidly backed by credible research coming out of respected institutions such as Harvard Medical School, the renowned Mayo Clinic, and Johns Hopkins University. Before we truly dive deep into the details, I'd like to ask you to take just a quick moment right now to drop a simple comment below with only your age. Nothing else, just the number. Doing this genuinely helps me better understand the audience I'm speaking to so I can continue tailoring the guidance more effectively to different life stages in future videos. By the time this presentation comes to an end, you're going to have a much clearer understanding of exactly why two different individuals who receive what appears to be the very same neuropathy diagnosis can end up experiencing vastly different day-to-day outcomes. One person steadily getting worse, while another manages to see real, meaningful improvement. More importantly, you'll walk away knowing exactly how you can position yourself to become the one who experiences genuine progress rather than continued decline. Far too many people simply assume that neuropathy is something unavoidable, a condition that will inevitably worsen over time no matter what they do. But here is the single most crucial insight that far too often gets completely overlooked in standard discussions. Your nerves are always actively responding to the environment they're living in. The repeated daily habits you engage in, many of which seem completely harmless or even comforting on the surface, can either quietly nurture and support ongoing nerve health or, unfortunately, slowly and steadily undermine it without you realizing. So please stick with me all the way through because the very last habit I'm going to share today is one that almost everyone over the age of 60 does on a regular basis, usually completely without realizing just how significantly it can contribute to increased nerve pain and discomfort. By the time we finish, you'll have in your hands a full, clear, and highly practical framework that you can start using immediately to regain a real sense of control and begin genuinely supporting your nerves, starting as early as today. Let's begin by first talking openly about what is actually happening inside your body when it comes to neuropathy, something that rarely gets discussed in enough detail. When you move into your 60s, 70s, and beyond, several important key changes naturally occur in the body, and these changes directly influence how neuropathy behaves and progresses. Try to think of your peripheral nerves as incredibly delicate electrical cables running throughout your body. Just like any cable, if those nerves don't consistently receive the proper nourishment they require, including adequate oxygen and essential nutrients, the electrical signals they carry can start to falter, weaken, or become disrupted. Those vital nutrients and oxygen are delivered to the nerves primarily through your blood vessels. But as the years go by, our arteries naturally become less flexible and more stiff. Overall blood flow tends to decrease in certain areas, particularly in the extremities like the legs and feet, and as a direct result, those nerves simply receive less of the nourishment they desperately need to function properly and repair themselves. A significant study conducted at Johns Hopkins followed more than 1,200 adults over a period of 5 full years, and the findings were quite striking. Individuals who showed evidence of reduced blood flow specifically in their lower legs turned out to be 52% more likely to experience a clear worsening of foot numbness, burning sensations, and other related neuropathy symptoms. Even if you're someone who already makes an effort to get regular walks or some form of exercise, there's still one very common pattern that can override those benefits: spending extended periods sitting down, whether that's while watching television for hours, sitting behind the wheel during long drives, or even just reading or working at a desk. All of that prolonged sitting can gradually compress sensitive nerves and seriously limit healthy circulation to the lower extremities. The simple but powerful adjustment here is to intentionally make it a new habit to stand up and move every 30 to 45 minutes. When you stand, take a moment to rotate your ankles in circles, gently flex and point your calves, or even take a quick 2-minute slow stroll around the room if possible. These brief but regular movement breaks work to restore proper blood flow, reduce built-up pressure on the nerves, and provide noticeable relief over time. If you personally have ever noticed that numbness or tingling seems to get noticeably worse after sitting for a long stretch, please type the words "wake up" in the comments section right now so I know you're relating to this. Now let's move to something that truly catches a surprisingly large number of people off guard, even many who do not have a formal diabetes diagnosis. Repeated spikes and sharp drops in your blood sugar levels throughout the day can actually damage and irritate nerves just as severely as having consistently elevated glucose readings all the time. Think about what happens after you eat sugary foods, sweet treats, or particularly large carbohydrate-heavy meals. Your blood glucose surges upward quickly, and that rapid rise triggers inflammation in the nerves along with oxidative stress and damage at the cellular level. Then, when those levels crash back down sharply afterward, the nerves are suddenly left starved for the steady energy supply they rely on, which in turn ramps up pain signals and heightens sensitivity. This up and down pattern, when repeated day after day, gradually worsens neuropathy symptoms over the long term. Impressive research published out of Harvard Medical School clearly demonstrated that when older adults focused on keeping their blood sugar levels more stable and consistent, they experienced a measurable 35% reduction in nerve irritation and burning sensations after following the approach for just 8 weeks. So how can you work toward achieving more stable glucose levels in practical terms? Start by intentionally combining any carbohydrates you eat with sources of protein or healthy fats. For example, pair fruit with a handful of nuts or add avocado to your sandwich. Opt for smaller, more frequent meals rather than a few very large ones, and make a conscious effort to limit oversized portions of refined carbohydrates like white bread, sugary cereals, pastries, or large bowls of pasta. When you succeed in maintaining more stable blood glucose throughout the day, it goes a long way toward calming inflamed nerves and reducing that persistent discomfort. Another habit that surprises many is going barefoot around the house or wearing very thin, soft, unsupportive house slippers simply because it feels comfortable and relaxing after a long day. While it may feel nice in the moment, this practice actually creates real problems for already sensitive nerves. Without adequate cushioning and arch support, there is increased direct pressure placed on vulnerable pressure points in the feet, nerves get compressed more easily, and the overall strain on the entire foot and ankle structure rises significantly. The nerves in your feet and ankles are naturally encased in protective layers of tissue, but when that protection is consistently lacking due to inadequate support, the result is ongoing microtrauma that builds up day after day. Over time, this leads to intensified burning sensations, deeper numbness, increased pain, and frequently disrupted sleep because the discomfort becomes worse at night. A very compelling 2022 study from the Mayo Clinic looked specifically at older adults who made the switch to wearing more supportive footwear, even just indoors at home, and the results were impressive. Participants saw an average 43% reduction in foot pain levels within only 6 weeks of consistent use. The recommendation here is straightforward. Look for shoes or well-constructed house slippers that offer firm, non-flexible soles for better stability, nicely padded insoles to absorb shock, and generous, roomy toe boxes so your toes aren't squeezed together. The great news is that making this one change for indoor wear alone can deliver surprisingly significant relief without requiring major expense or effort. As we get older, one change many people don't anticipate is that the body's natural thirst signals tend to become less reliable and less pronounced. Because of this, mild chronic dehydration turns out to be surprisingly common among older adults, and unfortunately, it has a direct negative impact on nerve function. Water plays a critical role in proper nerve signal transmission, in making sure nutrients reach the nerves efficiently, and in helping flush away metabolic waste products that can otherwise accumulate and irritate tissues. When hydration levels dip even mildly on a regular basis, nerve impulses can become irregular or sluggish, which often triggers or worsens symptoms such as tingling, burning feelings, or even painful muscle cramps. The practical fix is to develop the habit of drinking water steadily and consistently throughout the entire day instead of waiting until you actually feel thirsty. A very simple and reliable way to gauge whether you're on track is to check the color of your urine. It should ideally stay a pale yellow most of the time rather than dark yellow or amber. For some individuals, adding a small amount of electrolytes, such as through a low-sugar electrolyte drink, can be helpful in maintaining balance, but I always recommend checking with your doctor first before making that addition, especially if you have any kidney or heart-related conditions. Many people rely heavily on pain medications to help control their neuropathy symptoms, and while these medications certainly have an important role to play in managing acute discomfort, depending on them exclusively and long-term can sometimes unintentionally hinder the kind of longer-term recovery and nerve improvement we're aiming for. Certain classes of medications can subtly restrict blood flow to peripheral nerves or simply mask the underlying irritation without doing anything to address or reduce the root causes. The ultimate goal should always be to support the overall health and resilience of the nerves themselves rather than just suppressing the pain signals they're sending. Medications absolutely belong as part of a thoughtful, comprehensive plan when needed, but giving priority to improving circulation, optimizing nutrition, staying well hydrated, and incorporating supportive daily habits often produces more lasting benefits. Sleep is another area that provides your nerves with vital overnight repair and recovery time, yet many common sleeping positions and habits can unintentionally compress nerves for hours at a stretch. Things like habitually crossing your legs while sleeping, piling on overly heavy or thick blankets that press down on your feet and legs, or even pointing your toes downward in a plantar flexed position can significantly amplify the numbness and burning sensations you wake up with in the morning. A few small but effective tweaks can make a big difference. Place pillows strategically under or between your knees and ankles to better support your joints. Work to maintain a more neutral foot and ankle position throughout the night, and switch to lighter, less restrictive bedding so there's no added downward pressure. These seemingly minor adjustments give your nerves a much better opportunity to rest, recover, and heal effectively while you sleep. Chronic or ongoing stress is another major factor that often flies under the radar. When stress levels stay elevated for extended periods, your body produces higher amounts of cortisol, and that hormone can impair healthy circulation to the limbs while simultaneously increasing the nervous system's overall sensitivity to pain signals. Essentially, the nervous system becomes hypervigilant and amplifies signals that might otherwise be easier to manage or ignore. Fortunately, incorporating simple daily practices such as slow, deep breathing exercises, gentle stretching routines, short sessions of mindfulness or meditation, or even periods of quiet reflection can help send powerful, calm down signals to your body, lower cortisol levels, and noticeably reduce the intensity of nerve-related discomfort over time. Now let's pull everything together into the bigger picture so it's crystal clear. Neuropathy rarely worsens because of just one isolated cause. Instead, it's almost always the gradual buildup of multiple routine daily habits. Things like prolonged sitting without breaks, repeated blood sugar instability, consistently inadequate footwear and support, mild but chronic low hydration, over-reliance on medications without addressing root issues, poor sleep positioning that compresses nerves, and unmanaged ongoing stress. That ultimately determines whether your nerve health slowly improves or continues to deteriorate. Let me share two real-life examples from my own practice to illustrate just how powerful these changes can be. First, there's Margaret, who was 68 years old when I first met her. She had been struggling with intense burning sensations in her feet for several years, along with persistent numb toes and frequent sleepless nights due to the discomfort. When we sat down together, she looked at me and said with real frustration, "I've honestly tried everything the doctor suggested, and nothing seems to make any real difference. It honestly feels like my own nerves have turned against me." We carefully introduced what I call the Nervo Protocol, with a strong emphasis on improving circulation through regular movement breaks, staying consistently hydrated, stabilizing blood sugar levels, switching to proper supportive footwear even at home, optimizing her sleep positioning, and incorporating daily stress reduction techniques. Within just 4 weeks of making these consistent adjustments, Margaret reported that her burning pain had eased by around 60%. She was finally sleeping through the night without waking from foot pain, and the terrible morning stiffness she used to dread had almost completely disappeared. Emotionally, she told me she felt a renewed sense of relief, genuine hope for the future, and the confidence to stay more active in her daily life. Then there's Robert, age 72, who came to me experiencing constant tingling in both hands, along with sharp electric shock-like pains shooting through his feet. He had been taking daily pain medications for a while, but the symptoms stubbornly persisted despite the drugs. He confided in me, "I'm genuinely scared that I'll never be able to walk comfortably or confidently again." After committing to the full Nervo protocol, including those regular gentle movement breaks to boost circulation, his pain intensity dropped dramatically from a 7 out of 10 down to a manageable 3 out of 10 within 6 weeks. His walking became noticeably steadier and less painful, and he was able to reclaim a good deal of his former independence in everyday activities like shopping, visiting friends, and handling household tasks. These real-world examples make it abundantly clear that neuropathy symptoms can respond positively and meaningfully to targeted, adjustable daily habits, far beyond what most people believe is possible when they only consider age or the underlying condition itself. Now, I'd like to walk you step by step through the exact structured protocol I use with my patients every day. I've named it the Nervo Protocol because it focuses on the key elements needed to nurture and protect nerve health. Let's go through each step clearly. Step 6 is nutrition and blood sugar stabilization. Make a habit of always combining any carbohydrates you eat with good sources of protein or healthy fats. Choose smaller, more balanced meals spread throughout the day rather than a few very large ones, and deliberately cut back on oversized portions of refined carbohydrates. The Harvard research I mentioned earlier showed that this approach led to a 35% reduction in nerve irritation and burning sensations in older adults after just 8 weeks of consistency. Step 5 is supportive footwear and home safety. Choose footwear, yes, even your indoor house slippers, that features firm, supportive soles, well-cushioned insoles for shock absorption, and wide, roomy toe boxes that prevent squeezing. The Mayo Clinic study confirmed that older adults who made this simple switch for indoor use saw a 43% drop in foot pain within 6 weeks. Remember, your house slippers absolutely count here too. Step 4 is hydration and electrolytes. Commit to drinking water regularly and steadily all day long, instead of waiting for thirst to remind you. Keep an eye on your urine color and aim for it to stay pale yellow as a good indicator of proper hydration. This consistent water intake directly supports healthy nerve signaling and ongoing repair processes. Step 3 is gentle movement and circulation. Make it a non-negotiable habit to stand up and move at least every 30-45 minutes. When you do, rotate your ankles gently, pump your calves by rising onto your toes and lowering back down, or take a short, easy 2-minute walk. These simple actions boost blood flow to the extremities and help relieve built-up nerve compression. Step 2 is sleep optimization and nerve protection. Use pillows strategically to support your knees, hips, and ankles so you maintain a neutral position throughout the night. Avoid crossing legs or pointing toes downward, and switch to lighter bedding that doesn't press heavily on your feet and legs. These adjustments dramatically reduce morning numbness and burning by allowing nerves to rest and recover properly. Step 1 is stress reduction and nervous system reset. Incorporate easy daily practices such as deep, slow breathing exercises, gentle stretching, short mindfulness sessions, or periods of quiet reflection. Lowering stress hormones like cortisol helps restore better circulation to the limbs and reduces the nervous system's heightened sensitivity to pain signals. The best way to approach the Nervo protocol is to begin with small, steady, and sustainable adjustments rather than trying to change everything overnight. Your feedback inspires others. I genuinely look forward to reading your stories of progress and celebrating those wins with you. Community sharing motivates everyone. Your nerves have faithfully supported you through many decades of life, carrying signals, helping you move, feel, and experience the world. They're remarkable. They truly deserve your care, attention, and protection rather than being dismissed as just an inevitable, unstoppable part of getting older. Honor them with action. The truth is that small, repeated, positive changes, even ones that take only a few minutes each day, can create profound improvements in how those nerves function and how comfortable you feel. Consistency is the secret. Let's do one final thing together right now. Stand up one more time. Go ahead, I'll wait patiently. As you stand, pay close attention once again to how your feet feel in this exact moment. Is that familiar tingling, burning, or creeping numbness still there in your toes? Reflect on it. What if I told you again that this discomfort isn't purely and solely from age, from diabetes, or from some fixed, irreversible nerve damage, but is very often amplified, sometimes significantly, by unnoticed daily habits that have built up over time? Awareness is the first step. I'm Dr. Michael Kent, and with more than 2 decades dedicated to studying and helping people with nerve health and neuropathy in seniors, I can tell you with confidence that much of the conventional advice people receive about neuropathy remains incomplete. There's room for more insight. Nerves are remarkably reactive to the lifestyle pressures around them, and those subtle, repeated habits can quietly but powerfully worsen symptoms if left unaddressed. Addressing them changes everything. Over these past 25 minutes, we've explored 7 common habits that may be aggravating your neuropathy right now, along with the targeted, evidence-based fixes to help calm your nerves, restore better circulation, and reduce pain, drawing directly from research at Harvard, Mayo Clinic, Johns Hopkins, and similar trusted sources. This is solid information. If any part of this has resonated with you or given you new hope, please consider subscribing so you don't miss next week's video, where I'll share advanced nerve protection tips, including one key nutrient that many seniors unknowingly miss out on. Stay connected for more. And if you've made it all the way to the end of this presentation, drop the comment "Nerve Strong" below to let me know. It's a signal of commitment. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. And I'll see you next time. Take good care of those nerves starting today.